Hey, you did it. You found it. You found the podcast version of the show. It's Writer Radio. Here are the things you need to know. We stream live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at writerradio.com. 2, you can find every episode on YouTube, youtube.com/@writerradio. We're on Spotify, same name, Writer Radio. We are on Twitter or X @BradWriter, BradRiter. We're on Instagram @Writer Radio. There's a group now, Writer Radio Facebook group. Go there, find that, follow that, like it, whatever you have to do. We've got a phone number. You can send texts, leave voicemail, 716-288-5246. Email, bradwriter@gmail.com. You don't need to memorize this. It can all be found at writerradio.com. That's the hub. But those are the places. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend. Please share. That's how we grow. Glad to have you on board to the podcast version of Writer Radio. All right, let's try a home game. All right. It's tough to win on the road. But I was not enough of a man or competitor to overcome the challenges of a tough trip combined with a tough opponent. 338 pistachios, a lot of pistachios. Perhaps I'd be ready for them next time at home, but probably not. I mean, no way. The reality is no way. I got annihilated in my pistachio challenge. I brought this on myself. Nobody even challenged me really to it. Scott was telling a story a month or so ago, and I jumped in and claimed I could do something I couldn't do, and next thing you know, I'm eating a giant pile of pistachios, half of a giant pile of pistachios in a hotel room in Minneapolis. That's what happened. Hello, welcome to Writer Radio, episode 155. We live on. We live to fight another day. We're back in the friendly confines of Western New York. I prefer the Eastern time zone. There's nothing great about just switching everything up by an hour for a day and a half and switching right back. There's definitely nothing great about getting home at 4:30 in the morning and doing a show at 10 o'clock. That was a rough. The trip there was fine. The trip home was lengthy. We spent a lot of time sitting on a bus. And then a lot of time sitting on a plane before the plane took off. And then a lot of time, well, the flight itself wasn't that bad. But then as you descend toward Earth, the time zone thing kicks in on the phone. And you go, oh, wow, yeah, that's right. Forgot, even later than I thought. So, yeah, home at 4:30. Asleep by 4:45, I would say. Slept all the way till, I hit snooze for an hour, but slept till like 9:15. So I've been awake for the better part of an hour. Much of that was spent, setting up the equipment. It seems simple enough, right? You just turn on an app and hit play, and there I am. But anytime, it's precarious. There are a lot of wires. In fact, setting it up reminded me of, and now either you'll know this or you won't know this. But if you're the type of person who is inclined, and I'm going to guess you are, because you're the type of person who can find an app and put it on your phone and listen to a podcast, you might be inclined to play those stupid little time-killing games. Or even if you don't do that, you have ads pop up for these stupid little time-killing games. And one of them always just shows trying to twist and untwist, like connect the red rope at the top and bottom and the green rope at the top and bottom, but they're all twisted, and you have to untwist them and make them all fit together. That's what putting my stuff back together felt like this morning. I packed the entire podcast, whatever you would call it, the hardware, away into this little, it's pretty cool actually. I bought a suitcase last year that came with like an inner suitcase that's meant to be a hard, like shower kit, a little protector of things, and I used that for the stuff. And I put all that stuff, into all of my, like a bunch of microphones and cords and the little audio interface itself and headphones and just all that stuff. Chargers, plugs, all into there. And then when we were done yesterday with the show, I packed it all up in the thing. And then this morning, with my eyes still kind of not open yet, I started working on putting this all together. It appears to me that everything is working fine. The only issue that I'm having is that I don't see the chat on the screen. And I intended to start the show just by reading all the chat stuff from yesterday that I missed because I was flustered. I was rattled. It was a very different. I was difficult is wrong. I mean, eating all the pistachios was difficult, but doing the show was just the whole rhythm of it was just it was a mess. It didn't sound right from the start. I know everybody in the room got sick of hearing me say that, but I cared. And then listening back to it, I was right. Like, it didn't sound at all like the show typically sounds. That said, it was just like a chaotic, crazy fun. It was like you heard the live album. You know, it wasn't studio perfection. Not that my studio is perfect, because again, I don't even know what I'm doing from an engineering standpoint. I just have to figure it out. But then every time I switch stuff up, I got to figure it out again. So we're plugged in. We appear to be functioning. I brought the app up on my phone, and while I was playing music at the beginning, I could hear it over my phone, so that worked. And I could see the chat on my phone, but I could only go back 22 hours, which maybe that's proper. Maybe it would be the same on the computer screen. I wanted to just read through all the comments from yesterday because I didn't really do that. I was busy. I was not, like, seated at the computer the entire time. Scott was kind of running the show as I was pounding pistachios or just arguing about pistachios with him and John and Paul, who all came to room 311, chill, for in whatever. I don't even know what hotel we were in. Honest to God, no idea. I don't remember. We went because it's not like traveling for real. This is not real life, as has been pointed out to me several times by a friend and loyal listener to the show. It's not typical to have to be at the airport and then go get on a chartered plane and then fly to Minneapolis and then load onto buses and the whole trip is planned out for you. And the buses just take you to the hotel and you get out and you walk in and here's your key and that's your room. And it was an easy one to remember because of the band 311. But we were in 311 and that's all I know. 311, what hotel? Don't know. Doesn't matter. Never separated from the group. Aside from like using a bathroom, I don't know that Scott Wilson left my sight the entire time I was gone. He was either next to me on a plane, next to me on a bus, in the same hotel room with me, out for lunch, out for dinner, out to play trivia, forcing me to eat pistachios. Not forcing. I was a willing participant, but like I never looked up at the sign to see what hotel I stayed in. And typical travel, you book that hotel, right? So you're getting reminder emails. You also have the memory of booking the thing. So, was it a Courtyard by Marriott, maybe? That sounds right. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Listening back to the show, I think it was very entertaining. I was terrible, but I was right about the sound. But all the arguing and bickering, I think, was funny. The challenge was more difficult than I thought, obviously. And I explained afterward several of the factors that I think contributed to me being absolutely terrible in it. But I'm going to read some of the comments, the ones that I can see on the phone. I don't want to restart the whole broadcast just to try to get comments on the screen on the computer, which would be preferable, and I think I could see more. I think I'd be able to scroll up higher, but maybe not. But what's weird is, and let's see, there are comments here. Let's make sure that they say. Arlo says, I listened to the yesterday's show 3 times already. Yeah, yesterday's show was pretty good. There's a part of me that wanted to just put that on again today. Maybe I will. That like I always set the show up to be on from 10 to noon, and I usually jump in a little bit before 10 to get music playing, so that if you're tuning in, you can catch it, early, and then just wait for it to start. And I typically go a little bit past noon, too, because I'm just not done. Today, I know for a fact that we've got a fantasy football draft scheduled for noon, so I'm for sure bailing early. I set it up today to be from 10 to 11:30. Whether or not that ends up being true, I just expect it not to last quite until noon. I guess we'll put it that way. I have it ending at 11:30. I usually have it ending at 12. I usually go beyond 12. I'll probably go beyond 11:30, but I will not go beyond 12 today because this is the fantasy football league that we set up for Nate, where he's like the commissioner, although I'm kind of the commissioner. And all 3 of my sons are in it, one of whom is out of town, so I'm not sure if he's auto-drafting. I highly doubt that Zach is going to sit at a computer while he could be hanging out playing with his friend in Syracuse. So I think he's going to auto draft, which means I kind of have to set that up and monitor it for him because he's the least into football of anybody. So there's just, I can't do the show right to noon and then expect to do what I'm supposed to do for my kids at noon. So I've got it set up right now to end at 11:30. It'll probably go a little beyond that. Got a couple guests on the. I never even talked to Scott to ask him if he's coming on. I just saw him. Dude lives in Syracuse, so he drives to Buffalo, then flies to Minneapolis, then takes a bus to a hotel, then takes a bus from the hotel to the game, then takes a bus back to the airport, then gets on the plane, then flies here. I got home at 4:30 in the morning. He got back to Cheektowaga at 4:15, and then had to drive to Syracuse, and then had to go to work. So he didn't say anything about not coming on the show. He comes on at 11 o'clock every Friday. Didn't say anything about not doing it. But if he's not there, I understand. He's off doing whatever he does, usually finds a way to get into his car for half an hour or 40 minutes or sometimes an hour to do the show. If he's unable to do that, I mean, I might call him and he might just not answer because he's asleep in his car. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm sure he's safe. I'm sure he made it home. And I'm sure he made it to work. But he's at work on no sleep. And if he doesn't want to come on the show today, that's fine. Although I'd love to have him on because there's a lot to recap between football and the trip and pistachios. There's a lot there. All right. I'm going to read through the comments from the top, from what I've got here. And we'll work with that. I can't. Oh, so typically on my screen, it shows how many people are listening to the live stream. Although the number is weird. I don't really trust it because sometimes I'll have, 11 people in the chat and it tells me 4 people are listening to the show. I'm like, well, that's not true. And then there are other ways to listen to that aren't being counted. So it's like, I don't trust it. But I have nothing on my screen where it normally would tell me how many people are listening. It says event overdue. Your listeners are waiting, despite the fact that we're on. I can tell that I'm on. I can see the stuff moving. If I turn up listen right here, if I turn up the volume on the phone, we'll hear what I just said a couple minutes ago. Your listeners are waiting, despite the fact that we're on. So that's working. It's one of the listeners today is me. So that's working. All right, comments. And then there's a lengthy text message comment about the pistachio challenge that I'd like to read as well. All right, there's a comment that just says Sabres. Brad too far. Amazing show. Scott Wilson's children were heckling me during the show. Jeffrey, his oldest son, the 13-year-old older son, said the city of Buffalo was ready to riot in celebration, but you lost. ER Mom has Adam Sandler just saying, you blew it. ER Mom says this show is not brought to you by Wegmans or lightly salted pistachios. That's for sure. J-Man says blaming timing. Come on. I'll give you the laughter factor. There's a lot of debate put into when to try to down these pistachios. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to ruin the night. I didn't want to get off a plane and start eating pistachios and ruin the night. Although we did talk about doing it. We're in the hotel. We had like an hour and a half to kill before we were meeting for dinner. Like, we can just do it now. We can record it. We'll play it tomorrow. We can lead up to it. Decided not to because we wanted to go out to dinner. I didn't want to have a pile of pistachios for dinner. I wanted like real food. Not that nuts aren't real. They're real. But like if you woke up in the morning and you were offered a plate of spaghetti, it wouldn't quite work the same as if it's, 6:30 at night and you're offered a plate of spaghetti. I'm not saying pistachios are spaghetti, but some foods are better at better times. My entire system is in a better mood to do certain things at certain times with regard to food. I love a giant platter of Mexican food, one of our traditional places to go, one of our traditional things to do on road trips is just find a Mexican restaurant. They're all kind of the same. Some are slightly better than others. Some are a little cleaner than others. But you know what you're getting. You walk in there, they're going to put chips and salsa on your table right away. You can get a giant margarita if you want to. I never want to. They usually offer massive beer. Sometimes I do that. or regular sized beer or just water. And then I try to order the thing that comes on multiple plates. That's kind of my goal. If I'm at a Mexican place, I would like my dinner to arrive on multiple plates. Then I feel like I won. That sounds awesome. That would have been awesome for dinner 2 nights ago when we were in Minneapolis. We went to a place that had trivia and burgers and things. That was fine, too. It was good. But Reuben's, actually. We went Reuben's. It was like an Irish type of joint. None of that sounds delicious to me right now. It's 10:22 a.m. Yesterday at this time, we were sitting there. I'm barely awake. And we're talking about how am I going to pound these things. So the timing part of it, it's a thing. I'm not saying that's everything, but it's a thing. Arbo said best show hands down. Jeffrey again said the city of Buffalo was ready to riot in celebration. Ray Walter told us that the Bills rivalries jerseys just dropped. I missed that. That's that white shiny looking thing. Jay Miller said, I bet Cody Roberts from Wyoming could eat 400 pistachios. You may remember Cody from running over a wolf with his snowmobile, not killing it, taping its mouth shut, bringing it to a bar. Jeffrey jumps in again. It's Sophie movie Catch of the Day is fake, I think. That's oh yeah, we did the Hallmark game. Hope the recipe for love has pistachios in it. Plenty left. We still have some leftover pistachios. I did snack on them a little bit during the UB game last night. I'm going to let Brad work for the rest of the day. Best show ever. We're all punching the air. Jeffrey guessing again on the movie game. Brad's audio sounds awful. LOL. Meg says, excuse me, Megan is a perfect Hallmark movie name. I'm sorry, Meg. Jeffrey says, told you. He must have gotten that right. ER Mom said, still a great show. Arbo said, I salute Brad for a great effort yesterday. It was a great show. Gus said, always a great show. Arbo said, you sound a lot better today on the air. Yeah. Then he said, I listened 3 times already. Yeah, I know that one. All right, so there was a... Have you ever been on a plane to go to a city and while on the plane discovered that there was a school shooting in that city hours ago or moments ago? And you're like, all right, let's go win a football game in that place. And you got there, and, like, it was really weird to, at last check, it was 2 people, 2 kids that were killed. It's horrible. Plus the gunman who killed himself or herself, or I didn't get all the details. But, like, we're on a plane, like, oh, one of these terrible things happened again. Where? The place we're going. Oh, great. That's going to be awesome. So, like, that was the backdrop. Everything that was going on this whole weekend, that was the backdrop. Although I will say, I thought it was going to dominate the football game. And they did a moment of silence at the beginning, but I was doing the pregame show and kind of missed it. And Scott said, they just did it. It's over. All right. And we just moved on. So that's usually what happens. There's like a tragic event. An entire stadium is silent. And I'm just giving you the uniform report or something. It's an uncomfortable. I'm the only person in the stadium sitting during the national anthem because I don't notice it's happening because I've got headphones on and I'm talking. Pregame's weird. Hosting a pregame show is weird. You guys know, right? You guys have all hosted pregame shows for football teams and hockey teams and basketball teams and things, right? You know how it is. You got to get the job done unless we're going to carry the national anthem live, which we never do because that would require extra planning and extra equipment. And my God, we're doing enough. So we don't do that, and we just go right through it, pretend it doesn't exist. And we did that yesterday with the moment of silence for the kids that were killed the day before in Minneapolis. And yes, I know what too far meant. But the background, see, oh, this is what's weird. So you're in the hotel room. You know, you don't know which channels are which. Once in a while, they'll have a guide for you. But generally, I don't know, you just start flipping around. But either you were hitting local channels where the coverage was going on all day, or you were hitting national news networks where the top story was the same thing. So we visited the location of the top news story of the day, and that was just burned into my head, and that's all that was going on. And then yesterday, while I was in pain and sad and apologetic for being a bit overzealous in my assumed ability to consume a mass quantity of pistachios, I said that was certainly the worst thing that had happened in Minneapolis in the last 48 hours. And I don't apologize for that. I get to make jokes sometimes. So there's that. Okay. There's a text I want to read. The audio was bad. The audio was bad, but I think the audio being bad added to the charm of the whole thing because I was frustrated by that. Also frustrated by the inability. I've been doing a show by myself for 155 episodes. That's 300 plus hours of just me in charge of not just talking into the mic, but pushing all the buttons and making all the stuff happen. There's a certain expectation that at any point, even if things are going horribly, I could just hit play. I could take a break. There was no break. There was no break. It was a 2-hour just keep going thing that sounded bad, and I couldn't take a break to attempt to fix it. And I'm trying to think of a way to. You just got on the thruway, and now all of a sudden your phone is blowing up with text messages, very important text messages, but you're driving with your family in the car. And you're in a hurry, so you can't pull over. You can't even use that texting area. You can't do anything. You just have to keep driving while also, let's assume you need to reply to these messages. So you got to communicate while keeping everything literally on the road. And you just need a break. So normally I just hit a button and a song will play. And now I've got 4 minutes and 22 seconds to at least take a look and see if I can solve a problem. And I just couldn't get that. And then anytime I would bring it up, everyone would make fun of me. It was all in good fun. But there was a lot of just sort of bickering about, what do you care? Just eat the pistachio. It's like, yeah, but I'm trying to do a show. So all of it, but I think it all played out right. Like listening back, I'm not going to say it's going to win an award, but I think yesterday's show should win some sort of an award from somewhere. Someone should be looking for this kind of content to praise. So the bad audio actually added to the charm of it, gave it like a garage band feel, and that works for me. All right, I'm going to read an email, then I'm going to play a song, then we're going to talk to Dave Dombrowski, get an update on the Back Tee Golf Challenge, which is coming up. Gowanda Country Club about a month from now. Is it a month from today? It might be. I think September 29th is the date. All right. Text message. This is pistachio related from Ben. Said 5 or 6 years ago, I decided to cut down on eating meat and swap out my protein source to beans and nuts. Animal protein is dense, so you need to eat a lot of nuts to make up for it. I learned that no matter how much water I drank, there was only a limited amount of raw almonds I could eat at a time before my stomach just locked up. It wasn't even willpower. It was my stomach refusing to accept anything else, like I drank cement. Ooh, that sounds familiar. I believe I used the word cement yesterday. I did not share that with you before the challenge because I thought maybe it was just me, and I didn't want to get in your head. But a nut challenge is less like an eating challenge and more like a Ritz cracker or cinnamon challenge. Chemistry and physics are at play, not just the ability to shove things in your mouth. You did well yesterday, and it's not your fault. In conclusion, I'd like to tell you that I have never had that problem with donuts. Maybe I don't feel great later, but I've never had trouble getting them down. I can do a half dozen just watching the Sunday news, and I'm not even a big eater. You're going to crush the donut challenge. You like donuts, eh? Have all the donuts in the world, Brad. And that's from Ben. Thank you, Ben. That should have been my entire post-game commentary was, we're on to Krispy Kreme. Yeah, let's talk about your failures here. We're on to Krispy Kreme. We're moving on to the game we can win. We can win that one. I believe I get 8 minutes to eat a dozen of those Krispy Kreme things. And we're going to make sure that hot light is on. Or you hit up Erie on the way down there. Now, again, that's going to be an early morning one, too. Because Kent State game, probably a noon kickoff. Maybe it's a 1 o'clock. Let's see. UB at Kent football. We have got. No, not that. Skip. Sports. Football schedule. We have got noon kickoff. So noon kickoff, 3-hour drive, pregame show at 11, need to be there by 10, leave at 7, 6:30. Probably leave at 6:30. Leave at 6:30, that means we're hitting Erie at about 8. I will tell you, I feel terrible at 8 o'clock in the morning every single day. I don't like it. My body's just not ready. And it's like my insides, too. I'm not ready for food. Maybe a snack. Maybe like a donut. That would be fine. A donut would be fine. Flipping to competitive mode. To be honest with you, I'm not going to be starving at 8:30 in the morning. It's not going to be fun. I just think it's very doable. So, yes, we're on to the donut challenge. Again, donut challenge, 4 p.m. I would crush. Ooh, maybe the ride home. We'll see. This may sound like I'm making excuses already. It's me being reasonable and trying to figure out if I can do it. None of you have volunteered to do this, right? So I'm allowed to think out loud. I'm allowed to accept a challenge or create my own challenge and then also have a real discussion of what's realistic and what's not. And I'm telling you what is at work against me. Going into the pistachio thing, I did talk to 2 doctors while we were waiting for the plane. I didn't seek out a doctor. Hey, you're a doctor. Come here for a second. What are the ramifications of me eating, say, 338 pistachios? Sneeze coming. Hang on. Hey, I got the mic down in time to sneeze that time. That's better. All right. So I talked to 2 doctors, asked about the ramifications. The one takeaway I had from the conversation with the doctors was, 2. 1, they went to medical school to deal with me. That's 1. 2, one of the doctors just kept going, that's a lot of fiber. It's a lot of fiber. And I was like, well, what's fiber do? Is that good or bad? He's like, it's just a lot. It's a lot of fiber. And now I only ate half of what I claimed I would. A third of whatever it was. I don't even know what the number was. I was supposed to eat 338. I ate 122 or something. I don't know. It was a lot. It was still a lot. It was still more pistachios than I've ever eaten in a sitting. And he said a lot of fiber, and I said, all right. And I'm trying to think, how does that play out? And I asked, is that going to like bind things up or open things up? He's like, oh no, yeah, you're going that way. Oh, open, fiber, open. And it kicked in the high fiber content of my, we'll call it breakfast, kicked in about kickoff of the game last night. So I was in and out of the room more than a couple times. And I was worried that if the problem continued, I was going to have a real problem because it was go sit on the bus for a while. Like, seriously, here is the game ends at, let's say, 11 o'clock, right? It started at Eastern time, or excuse me, Central time. It started at 8. Game ends at 11:30. We're on the bus at midnight, let's say, and then didn't get home. So I was either sitting on a bus or sitting on a plane for about 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. I was sitting on a bus or plane. Luckily, the problem cleared up 5 minutes before I got on the bus, or I might not be welcome back on these trips if things had gone the way that they could have gone with just the crippling pain that I had in my stomach for most of the football game yesterday. I survived it. It was okay. We conveniently had a men's room right outside of our booth. Nice setup at Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. So that was fine. But as far as ramifications, I think we're good. I think I'm in the clear. And now I just got to get the mindset right for pounding Krispy Kreme donuts on the thruway on the way to Kent State 2 weeks from tomorrow. Right? They don't play tomorrow. They play home against St. Francis on the 6th. and then we're at Kent State on the 13th. So sometime around 8 o'clock. We're not live streaming from the van, but we will record whatever happens in the van and then use it on the show, presumably the following Monday. So that's what we've got. I've got to take a break. I'm already too late. I'm supposed to call Dave. I'm going to play a song and then call Dave Dombrowski to get caught up on what's happening with the charity golf tournament called the Back Tee Golf Classic at Gowanda Country Club in September. We'll get an update. He was on the radio already today. Went on with Jeremy. Jeremy's involved at WGR. Pretty cool. All right, I'm hitting a song, probably 2 songs, and we'll talk to Dave. Stay tuned. I'm Brad Ryder. It's Ryder Radio, episode 155. Thanks for listening. This portion of Ryder Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays, 10 to noon at ryderradio.com. All right, Steve Earle, I feel all right. Sleeping My Day Away by DAD, which was originally called Disneyland After Dark until they weren't allowed to call themselves that because, I don't know, you can't offend the mouse. You can't go after the ears. You can't do Disney related things. So they just became DAD. They're like a hair metal band from somewhere weird, like they're Danish or I don't know. You can tell there's broken English in there, like they're just consonants missing. It's just weird. I just always like that song. I have a folder on my computer called Brad Songs, and it's just weird stuff like things that if I didn't put in that folder, I would forget existed. Wasted in America by a band called Love Hate. Hobo Humpin' Slowbo Babe by Whales. It's just like weird Brad stuff. And every now and then I mix in. All right. You know who's not weird? Dave Dombrowski, who has been on a couple times to talk about the upcoming event at Gowanda Country Club. It is the Back Tee Golf Classic. And I know you were on the radio already today talking about it. We're a month away from the event, or thereabouts, right? It's the 29th, so we're exactly a month away. What are you, because things are going well. You're you're close to sold out. What are you still trying to accomplish here in the final month, the final push before the tournament, Dave?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on again, Brett. Yeah, we're exactly a month away today. And as of right now, we only have one team slot available left. But we're kind of in the works of possibly opening up just a few more, just kind of working out the final details on that. But officially, we only have one more foursome slot available. We also are keeping open the green tea sponsorships for businesses or personal. We'll do signage. There's about 4 slots left for that. And then we just opened up the bidding. I can finally now officially say excited. My good friend Thomas Ian Nicholas from, Henry Rowan Gardner of Rookie of the Year and Kevin Myers of American Pie. We officially put them out as a bid. So you can go on the backteegolfclassic.com and click the link that says play with Thomas Ian Nicholas. Awesome. And there's an open bid starting yesterday. That will go on to the 22nd. So if you already have your foursome, you could still bid on him, because if everyone has their foursome already, what we'll probably do is we'll just have him as like your special guest and celebrity golfer, and we'll have him. You can play a couple shots for you or whatnot, and he'll just kind of hang out with you for the day, kind of thing. So, but yeah, that went live the other day, and so that's still going on. We'll still take donations as well. I also have the Back Tee Golf Classic. I don't want to call it apparel or swag. Golf polos and pullovers, and we'll keep that open until September 15th. So if you are participating in the event, you can just go right online. You can order your apparel, and then can be picked up the day of the event. And even if you don't participate, we can ship that out to your address as well. Did
you get out and play yesterday?
I did, actually. Yeah, I was just finalizing some details at the country club, and they went out and played with some friends of mine on the committee, and it's playing beautiful, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to look beautiful in the fall, especially when the leaves change. So we're just kind of finalizing the details of where we're going to put what hole we're going to put the car giveaway, and closest to the pin for some prizes and longest drive. So yeah, and it's playing really, really well. I'm excited.
So this is the first time you have done this. It seems to me that things are going exceptionally well. Most first-time events are very scrambly. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of things to accomplish in the month leading up to it, but you seem to be in a really good spot. I'm happy for you and proud of you, because first-time events don't always go super smoothly.
No, I appreciate that, and honestly, It's a testament to all the friends and I have that are helping along with this event too. I couldn't have do this without them too. So and like I said, I've been around golf most of my life. I've attended a lot of tournaments. I have a few friends out of state and even in town that run a few. So you kind of just absorb over the years and just kind of see how they run their events and whatnot. And you kind of pick up some ideas and then you just bring some uniqueness to it too. So yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done, but I don't know. It's like I said, at the end of the day, it's for such a good cause, and the main objective here is to make this a yearly event. So, because again, at the end of the day, it's about building upon this clinic where the Spina Bifida Clinic of Oshai Hospital will be the one-stop shop, not only for people in Western New York, but also the greater New York as well. So yeah, I thank you for the compliment, but I mean, it's again, it's a team effort. So I appreciate everyone, and especially in Buffalo, being back only for not even a full year yet. I think that's what's so special about Buffalo and its community is everyone's just always looking, got each other's back, and that support is very unique. You don't really get that in other cities.
Can I tell you another thing I'm proud of you for doing? For calling it
Yes.
the inaugural golf classic as opposed to first annual. Too many people do too many events, and the first mistake they make is they call it first annual. Like, you haven't even gotten off the ground yet. You're already
Yeah.
telling me you're doing it next year. I don't believe you.
Sure. Yeah.
Inaugural is, we're going to try this, and we all know
Yeah.
what you mean by inaugural. You mean this is not a one off thing, but you're using the proper terminology. And that's what I
Sure.
like about you, Dave. Intelligence,
Oh,
common
thanks.
sense. You're doing it the right
Yeah.
way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What do you need from me? What can I do to help you between now and September 29th?
Well, I'd love to have you there.
I'm coming.
First and foremost,
I'm in.
So, and I don't know anything else. Like, if there's, like I said, if any of your listeners have any small, businesses or companies that like to, like I said, we're opening up. We still have like 4 or 5, sponsorships that we're taking for the green teas, and like I said, also if you want to just even come down. And like I said, with the spots being full, we're going to take people just to even do the putting contest. So if you want to just be part of the putting contest and the $10,000 cash prize, you're more welcome to come down. Check out the event, and maybe it can get idea what this event will be, in the future, and get you into maybe some early
Okay.
registrations for next year. That's the other thing I might be trying to set up too. If people want to come in and check out the event, we might start some early, spots for everybody for the following year.
That's a good idea. Yeah, you have learned from the tournaments you've attended. One good way to lock yourself in is to either give away or raffle off or put in Chinese auction, whatever you end up doing, silent auction, um, a foursome for next year. Make that one of your prizes, and that just kind of forces your hand because now you don't want to
Yeah.
disappoint the foursome that already won, and then it kind of makes you do the next. You're going to do it again. I know you are, but I'm looking
Yeah.
through, and this is why you're going to do it. I'm looking through your sponsorship packages right now. Car
Yeah.
sponsorship sold out. Beverage cart sold out. Cart sponsor sold out. Putting contest sponsor sold out. Long drive sponsor sold out. Practice range sponsor sold out. You're looking for hole and tee sign, and you're looking for
Yep.
a presenting sponsor. Those are the only things that appear to be available, and that is
Yes.
fantastic, man. That's a good sign that you've got all that stuff squared away right now. It gives you the ability to get ready in the way that you want to, as opposed to hoping that donations come in and hoping that people show up and people come through with the promises that they make. So that's just awesome. I'm very impressed with how this is looking for an inaugural tournament.
No, I appreciate it. Like I said, I've been kind of blown away too with just the response that I'm getting, and it's been a little bit overwhelming in a good way too. Like I said, it shows a true testament to of Buffalo and the Western New York people, and how it doesn't matter what the cause. It just seems like when there's something good happening and for the greater good, it seems like the city of Buffalo always rallies around it, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of moved back home too. I kind of miss that. I miss the community and the friendships that I have, have developed over the years too. It's like I said, even you and I have not spoken in many years,
Yeah.
and it seems like being reconnected with you, it's like we just kind of picked up right where we left off. And like I said, that's you don't really get that in other places. Like I said, I lived in Los Angeles, I lived in Nashville, New York, and it's really hard to find that kind of uniqueness that Buffalo has.
So I've talked about this with you a couple times as you've been on. I don't know. This is like the fourth time you've been on since coming back. But
Sure. Yeah.
Dave Dombrowski is a drummer, And I'd like to know what's next for you as far as your commitments, your touring, what's on the agenda musically between now and I don't know, whenever you,
Yeah.
however far out your
It,
schedule.
yeah. It's funny. I think last time I spoke, I said I was trying to, take a little break from touring, and I just got back last week, and I think that was our 105 show or something of the year. I've been back out with Tyler Hilton. He is formerly from the show One Tree Hill with Chad Michael Murray. He's had a music career for as long as I think he was like 17, 18 years old. And he also played Elvis and Walk the Line. Um, and he's having a resurgence right now. There's like this crazy nostalgia going on in general with TV shows, music. Everyone's kind of like on their 20-year anniversaries right now. So there's been just a huge uptick of the One Tree Hill show and his career and his first record. So we just finished up a world tour actually. So I started back in March, and we did the United States. We did, I think, 11 countries in Europe. And then we just finished a festival with Plain White Tees, which was a lot of fun this past weekend. And they're actually coming in town. Him and Kate Vogel, who was also on the show, they just announced they're doing like a co-headline world tour, and they're actually going to come in town next week. And we're doing rehearsals at Robbie Take Tech Studio GCR for about 4 days. And that's funny enough that tour starts at the end of September. So pretty much going to be doing this golf event, and then like next day I fly right into Vancouver, and we start this world tour in West Coast Canada, and also the West Coast for like 2-3 weeks. And then we're doing, I think, like a Christmas holiday tour for December, and then next year is confirmed for Australia and Europe again.
Whoa.
And again, it's just so I told myself I was going to calm down, but I don't know. It's so funny. I think we had this conversation before. There's such like a weird love hate with touring. It's kind of it's a fine line of your. I'm so grateful for it, but then it gets exhausting with the Groundhog's Day. But again, Tyler's a dear friend of mine. The tour manager and his day-to-day manager is one of my closest friends. We know each other for 12 years. We were roommates together in Nashville. So this camp is it's a little bit unique where you don't really have that camaraderie sometimes with some bigger tours like I did with Avril. It's this is just kind of unique where it's really close friends kind of touring, so it's kind of hard to say no to close friends. It's just sometimes a little bit more memorable that way.
Dude, I'm worn out from a tour that went to Minneapolis and then turned around and came back with UB
Yeah,
football. I mean, I'm exhausted right now. I've already said the show's not going all the way till noon today because I just got up. I just got home. I just went to bed. I got up right away. Like that's one day. I've been gone. I was gone for less than 48 hours.
yeah.
And it
Come
beats you
with
up.
us for a week, Brad.
No.
Come with us for a week. You'll get to experience how it really is.
How do you? How, there's got to be a lot. So, all right. I don't know if you are aware. I did this.
Yeah.
I thought I could eat 338 pistachios in 5 minutes.
Okay.
I thought I could. If they were shelled, I thought I could do it. Turns out I could
Sure.
eat like 129.
All right.
Still pretty
Impressive.
impressive. It's still
Yeah.
pretty good. Still made
Sure.
me feel terrible. Still was way too much fiber. But when getting ready for that, and really when explaining why I failed, I guess part of it is I didn't time it right. You have to time it right. How do you time it so that your energy level peaks? Like how much time and effort is spent making sure that your energy level peaks when it's time for a show? Because when you hit a stage, those people plan their day or their week or their month around you being entertaining and you being on
Sure.
your game. And to you, it's just Tuesday night, and you're doing the same thing you did the night before. I always wonder that about musicians, how much time and effort you put into peaking at the right time.
Yeah, no, I mean everyone's different. For me, I can just speak for myself personally, but I'm kind of a health nut. I think we talked about that before too. Is I grew up playing sports, so I kind of take all the discipline and the routine I had of being in the gym and kind of preparing for being on a field for me specifically as lacrosse field, kind of apply those same principles for drumming and performing. And you hit the nail on the head too. At the end of the day, like these people are paying really good money to see this artist, and you also want to perform at your best because you're basically serving the song for that artist. So I fast in the morning, so I usually don't start really eating till about 12, 1 o'clock, if any, or in the afternoon. I'll definitely have my black coffee in the morning or Starbucks or whatever coffee. Well, actually, one little fun thing about me is I do love a good mom and pop shop. So if we're in town and close enough to the hotel, I'll definitely Google map like the closest, nicest, coffee shop, and kind of that's kind of like my morning routine. And
Okay.
then if I'll hit the gym in the morning if I could, if we have time, and then I just kind of just I try to relax, like you said, just kind of keep reserve the energy. I try to eat properly as well as I can. If there's catering that day, if there's not, like same thing, just maybe go to like a local grocery store and grab, you know, what I need for nutrition wise. And then, after sound check, there's like a good gap of, not doing anything for about 3, 4 hours. So I'll just sit in the green room and, um, we kind of hang out. Sometimes and every camp's different. Like right now on the Tyler tour, it's kind of funny. They're addicted to watching Love Island right now.
Okay.
So I got kind of roped into that. So we just kind of hang out, and he does his VIP thing too. So he'll be in and out of the room. But you know, we just kind of hang out and just, like you said, just reserve as much energy as possible. And then, we usually hit the stage anywhere between as early as 7:30, as late as 8:39. And then we're on for about 75, 90 minutes. And to be honest, the hardest part is to try to wind down after that. Cause I think
Mm-hmm.
once you just, to use all that energy, it's trying, cause then, you're hungry, you want to try to eat. So I try to limit not eating as much after that. And then, yeah, I think that's probably the hardest part, is trying to wind down after a show, because you have all that energy and adrenaline after playing, and the last thing you want to think about is sleep. So I try to just maybe calm down, take a hot shower at the hotel, and just actually just stay away from my phone too, and just try to
Yeah.
relax and try a good night's sleep.
I
Because
I get that
um,
just from when I used to do radio. Like I would do evenings, and it was like, why don't you just go home and go to bed? I'm like, how am I going to go home and go to bed after I just was live for 4 hours doing a show, presumably, at least in theory, and trying to entertain people, and then it ends at 10 o'clock, and I'm supposed to just go
yeah,
home and lay down and fall asleep and wake up and start over. Like that doesn't work. So yeah, the wind
no.
down is definitely a part of it too.
No, yeah, especially on the Avro gig. I mean, we wouldn't leave the arena sometimes till 3 a.m. So I mean, you're just wide awake, and you're just kind of all hanging out with everybody, and it's just a kind of a fun hang. But and some nights you get an opportunity to sleep throughout the night, but days we have off, like we're only driving a few hours, so you kind of have to make that decision. Do I just sleep for a couple hours in my bunk, or do I just stay up and wait till I get to the hotel at 6 in the morning and then sleep? So it's again, every tour has its own uniqueness, so you kind of just try to adapt, and you try different things. And I mean, I'm still to this day, I'm trying different, experimenting with different
Sure.
ways to keeping energy, because it's like I said, every tour brings its own uniqueness, especially with travel, and flights being canceled or delayed or whatnot, and traffic and all that stuff. All those variables it plays in its effect as well too.
All right. What's one last thing you want to tell people about the golf tournament before I let you go? And I know we'll talk to you again very soon, the next time you've got any sort of an update. But is there any takeaway you want for people to have thinking about the Back Tee Golf Classic a month from today at Gowanda Country Club?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank every person that has taken the opportunity to be part of this, whether it be a sponsor or a golfer. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great event. And like I said, if the last thing is, if you can't participate in it, you can still go online. You can still donate to the clinic itself. And like I said, if you even want some golf apparel for the fall, like I said, we have a lot of pullovers and whatnot, and that's right on the website too. And that will we're taking orders up until September 15th.
Perfect. BackTeeGolfClassic.com. Dave Dombrowski, thank you for your time. We'll talk to you soon, and just keep us posted on anything that's changing, anything that's updating, anything that's getting bigger. Stay in touch, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds great, Brad. You have a great day.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thanks
Thanks,
again.
man. There's Dave
Bye bye.
Dombrowski running the Back Tee Golf Classic to benefit the Spina Bifida Clinic at Oshai Children's Hospital. If you can't tell from talking to him, super nice guy. Really just a cool dude that I met many years ago through my wife. Um, and like she knew her. Dave's mom was a client of my wife, and then she was telling me how this family's really cool. And then I met him, and then he had a band, and then the band came in studio, and they were awesome. And that band is no longer together, but he's obviously continued with his music career, doing really well, out touring. Just good dude and good cause, and it's golf and it's a tournament, and I'm in. So backtgolfclassic.com. I'm going to play a song, and when we get back on the other side, we'll find out if Scott Wilson's awake. Because if he's not, I give him permission to just not be on today. It's been a lot of Scott. He was on, Monday like he always is. He was on the entire time yesterday. He might be sick of me. He might be sick of talking. He might be totally interested and totally into it and mad that I haven't called him yet because it's 11:03 and I haven't checked in. So I've got to hit a song, which I'm not prepared for, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to find something in here. We just did Steve Earle, so I'm not doing that. We've done a lot of Cake lately. I don't feel like doing that. I heard the In Excess song Kick yesterday, either right before or right after a kickoff at Minnesota, and I thought that was cool. That somebody who's in charge of music there knows the title track from a 1987 Australian album and knows that the word kick would fit with football. Oh, that was good. They did a lot of things right. I don't know if you watched the game on TV. I don't know if you would have picked this up. And we did not mention it on the radio broadcast, but there are a lot of, they really embrace that the Golden Gopher is kind of goofy. Like there are schools with mascots that are meant to intimidate, right? Tigers, like, you're a tiger or a lion or a bear, like, oh, look out. You're going to get eaten by this monster of a team. Gophers aren't really scary. Like on their screen, their scoreboard, they at least once, maybe multiple times, had like gopher dance contest where they have the worst part of Caddyshack, the little stuffed gopher thing, animatronic gopher. They have that up on there, and people are dancing like him. They do like the the Lion King they do at some games, where you take your kid, you take your baby, and hold it up like it's I don't know the Lion King well. Is Simba the little one or Simba the adult? It doesn't matter. Where you hold the baby up in the air, they do that, but it's like gopher related, so it's sort of the Lion King, but it's kind of the Gopher King. But one of the things they did, and I took a picture of it, and I guess I could just put it on the website or something, or on Twitter, X, whatever. So UB lines up to kick a field goal, and it's the first ever field goal attempt as a bull for our new kicker, and he's facing the scoreboard end. It's essentially it's a horseshoe like Ohio State, where there's an open end with the student section at the closed end. The scoreboard is at the open end, and this kid is kicking at the open end. And on this massive scoreboard is just a picture of, it looks like a gerbil, but I'm sure it's a gopher. And it's not a video, it's just a picture, and it's a very zoomed in picture of a gopher face looking down at the kicker. And that's it. He's just like, what are you up to? Kind of, his eyes are kind of to the side, kind of looking down at you as you're attempting to kick the ball. I don't know that would go well for me. I mean, I'm not going to start saying I could kick field goals, because next thing you know, I'll be on a field and have to do it in front of people, and Scott will yell at me, and you'll all laugh and tell me I'm a failure. I don't want to do that. But I got to say, like they play up the, hey, our mascot's funny aspect of being the Golden Gophers. I liked it there. I liked their stadium a lot. All the people were super nice. No, nothing bad to say about the trip to Minnesota, aside from it taking way too long to get home. And I don't understand why we sit on buses for as long as we do. But we do. I guess because there's a lot of people. And I'm sure there are reasons. And from other aspects of life, specifically Little League Baseball, people go, I don't understand why. It's like, yeah, you don't. So shut up. Everybody wanted to go home faster, but we couldn't because of something. I don't know what it is. I just know it was frustrating, as I'm just jammed into a bus, jammed into a plane. But still, great trip. Haven't even talked about the game. We'll do that with Scott, assuming he's available in just a moment. I still haven't picked a song. Sorry. I hear Neil Diamond. I don't. Mother Love Bone will take too long if I play the one I like. What else is here? We'll find something. I can't just always choose Belle Biv DeVoe, can I? I mean, I could. Beastie Boys? We'll try Beastie Boys. Little Beastie Boys. Not a ton of Beastie Boys. I hear a lot of Beastie Boys at my house. I like this one. I hit the wrong thing. It's coming. Bear with me. Just playing a song so I can call Scott. I'll be right back. It's Writer Radio, episode 155. We will end a little early today due to a fantasy football draft at noon featuring 3 of my children that I've got to figure out how to set them up for. So stick around. Scott might be next. Probably will be. He never said he wouldn't come on. I'm just trying to give him a break. Just saw him. All right, BC Boys, then I think Scott. Stay tuned. This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com. I told you we'd get Scott Wilson. It's okay that he got home at 7 o'clock and had to work at 7 o'clock or whatever. What time did you actually get home, man?
A little before 6:30.
A little before 6:30. Oh, that's pretty good. You didn't have to be to work till what time?
A little before 7:30.
Oh my God. You slept a little on the plane. You might have slept a little on the bus. You obviously didn't sleep while driving home to Syracuse at 4. I got home at 4:30, and I live 5 minutes from the airport. So you don't, from the Buffalo airport. You might live 5 minutes from an airport, but it ain't the one we landed at. There's no great explanation. I'm sure there are reasons. I was just saying this before having you on. If I'm going to sit here and go, I don't understand why we didn't get home sooner. It's like, yeah, everybody wanted to get home sooner. I'm sure there are reasons when you're traveling with that many people, but man, it feels like a long time sitting on a bus when you know that the plane is still going to take a while and then you've still got the ride at the end of it. That's it. All in all, I'm going to say that was a good trip. It was it was a fun place to be. It was a good opponent. It was a good football game. Bulls did not come away with the win, but did nothing to discourage me for what's going to happen in the next 11 games when the schedule is going to get easier than playing a Big Ten opponent on the road.
Yeah. I got. I was getting dressed and basically just changing out of what I wear for the UB games and then back into what I wear for regular work, and kind of let out a sigh. And my wife was like, what's wrong? And I was like, what's wrong? Last time I slept was Wednesday. So we're burning the candle here at both ends early in the season already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was first of all, it's a fun trip, like you said. And that was a good opponent, I think, from the Minnesota side of it. That's kind of what you hope for when you schedule a MAC team. Someone that's going to push you a little bit, but you're still going to be able in the fourth quarter to have just enough of an upper hand to get the win. And from the UB side, that's exactly what you want from taking a Power 4 opponent. Someone that you're going to be able to push into the fourth quarter and roll the dice and have a chance to win. And I think it worked out for both sides there. Unfortunately for the Bulls, it didn't work out with the victory. But, I mean, they were right there in that game with the ball, with 10 minutes to go in the game, and a chance to go down and take the lead.
Yep.
That's the ideal situation that you want. And when you really look at some of the chances, some of the post-game sound that we heard from that locker room, not being like, hey, that was fun, like we almost did it. It was, I'm pissed because we just had the chance to win this game and we know that we're really good and we missed out on the chance. And some of that is the luck of probably the most important tackle of the game being made by the first team All Big Ten running back for Minnesota.
Yeah.
On the pick six that
wasn't
turned into not
pick
being
zero.
one in
Pick three.
Yeah, that's a 4-point saving tackle. And then the Bulls miss a field goal. All right, so that's 7 points right there. And then there's a dropped interception in the end zone at the end of the half that turns into a field goal. So that's 3 points. So we're talking about in a 13-point game, that's 10 points that we're talking about right there. So the defense for the Bulls looked phenomenal. That's what we've been telling everybody for months now, that, hey, this defense is going to be able to be real. And they looked real good. And the offense, I think, looked like for a little while had a quarterback that was experienced but hadn't played in 2 years and was shaking off the rust. I thought once he got settled in, I thought he looked good.
Yeah.
And I like what Roberson brought. I like that eventually he got the legs part of it going, and the running game wasn't necessarily there, but there was numerous times in that game where we, as people that watch every snap every year of this team, are able to accurately tell people that LJ probably against a MAC opponent yesterday finishes with 100 yards. And instead he had 20 because of how good that defense was. That's an upper echelon Big Ten defense. They're off. That Minnesota offense isn't there yet. I'm not sure that they have the game breaker on the outside that's going to let them fully compete for the top of the table. But that defense is going to keep them in every game. They've got NFL players at all three levels, and the Bulls were able to hang in there with a team that good. I think just like last year, I think this offense is only going to get better, and that defense, if they stay healthy, is going to stay at the high level they're at, which is going to make them a real contender. And it's going to be fun because we saw the other two of the other, along with UB, two of the other four teams at the top in Miami, Ohio, taking their game at Wisconsin into the fourth quarter with a one-score game, and Ohio, the Bobcats, taking their Big Ten team in Rutgers into the fourth quarter in a one-score game, losing by 3 at Rutgers. The teams that are at the top, and the other team that hasn't played yet is Toledo, are going to be real good. They're not just like good MAC teams. I think that they're good football teams. And it's going to be a real fun race, especially when you consider the last 2 weeks of the season. The Bulls get 2 of those other 3 teams at home. So this is shaping up to be a really fun season. And that was a fun game. That's what you want. Again, you go to a Big Ten team, you take them to the fourth quarter and you roll the dice. And the Bulls came up 1 or 2 plays short. And that was an entertaining, fun game that will set you up for the rest of the season.
And it was all right there at the transition from the third to the fourth, because that's when UB had a chance to take the lead. Obviously, when it was scoreless, they could have taken the lead. But as far as late in the game, you hold them to a field goal that makes it 16-10. You're like, ooh, all right, the Bulls are getting the ball here, and if they can drive down, they've got a chance at the lead. That's when they go 3 and out. And that's right as the quarter is ending and the fourth quarter is starting. And shortly thereafter, not even shortly, on the next play, you've got yourself in a... Oh, this is all in the fourth. I apologize. Fourth quarter, down 6, 3 and out, punt, first play, 60-yard touchdown. And then it wasn't over. They were still in it, of course. But that was it. That was the moment where it's like, okay, you can go do it, but you come up a little bit short. And then, not even a little bit short, 3 incompletions. And then blink of an eye, 60-yard touchdown, the only big offensive play of the day for Minnesota. And that was enough to make, now it's 23-10. Now we're kind of starting over. There's, 11 minutes left in the quarter or whatever, or in the game, I should say. But that was the moment where it went, all right, probably not going to happen. But I was still satisfied with everything that I saw and happy to get out of there with, having hung with them, having shown, you kept using the phrase. And it's funny because I was thinking it before you started saying it, and then I never said it over the course of the game or the post-game show, but it looked like 2 good Big Ten defenses out there. And I know you were couching it a little bit because we have to recognize the MAC is not the Big Ten. But that's what it looked like. It looked like Minnesota was up against a real tough defense in its own conference, and it looked like UB was up against a real tough Big Ten defense. That was super encouraging, and that's going to be my takeaway from the game, is that if this defense can look like that against Minnesota, what's it going to look like against an FCS team or against some of these lower-level MAC teams? And you just have to have everything in shape by the final 2 games of the regular season, because that's when you play Miami and Ohio, and both of those games are at home. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. Good setup, good trip, good start to the season. I like that they don't talk about moral victories, but I'll take them. That was a moral victory. That was good. And I'm ready to move on. I'm not going to make you stay on too long. I'm going to let you go. Sometimes we'll ramble for an hour or 2. Like yesterday, you did the whole show. Monday, you were on for like an hour. If there's anything you want to say about that, now that things have calmed down, I'll let you do that. But otherwise, I will excuse you to go to, I don't know, I would recommend sleeping on the job today, but, whatever you want to do.
I'll just add in, I think that Bulls offense is going to. I think we saw that McMillan only had 2 catches, but looked like the McMillan that we saw last year, coming off of his injury. That's cool. Victor Snow again with another big play. Looks like he's going to be real dangerous. I thought the running backs didn't have much room, but when they did, they looked like they were good. Offensive line had a rough first quarter, but they settled in and they settled down as that game went along. So I am very encouraged on that side of the ball too, especially knowing, seeing the track record that what they did last year.
Yeah.
I mean, if it looked like last year defense was ahead of the offense early on, we're like, oh geez, are we going to have enough? And then, by like the 4th or 5th week of the season, they scored 30 points every game. So I'm just all around very, very encouraged. As far as yesterday, that's, that's still sitting with me a little bit. I know that was a tough loss for you.
We're on to Krispy Kreme. We're on to Krispy Kreme.
The Bulls took that game to the 4th quarter. You did not.
Nope.
You did not. Pistachios got on you early and never really let you up.
No. Could recover.
But, Krispy Kreme 2 weeks away. You got your donut challenge. I did hear a little bit of the show earlier where you were talking about some of the fiber issues that happened.
Yeah.
In what mid first quarter?
About kickoff. It was the game was approaching. I was like, all right, I just got to get through pregame because I'm stuck to the chair for an hour. Once that was done, then I knew I could escape, and I started making miniature trips to the bathroom. But there were several, and I think the pistachios were a factor in my comfort or discomfort level over the course of the evening.
I would just like to stick up for pistachios here and say it possibly could have something to do with the close to a dozen Mall of America hush puppies that you had.
Yeah.
While walking around the mall.
Yeah.
After we had lunch.
After lunch, after pistachios. I did pistachios, then lunch.
You did pistachios.
Then hush puppies for dessert. I thought it would be for the group. Nobody likes hush puppies except me. I got Paul to eat one. I would have just bought the 6, but I figured I was going to have to give out 4 or 5, and I wanted more than 1 or 2. As it turns out, Paul only wanted 1. Nobody else wanted 1, so I ate 11 hush puppies after lunch, after the pistachios, and then before the pregame meal, which involved Cajun sausage, institutional Cajun sausage, and that was good though. And I put hot sauce on that. It was a rough. I did a lot of. It was on me. It's.
Let's not just lay this.
It's not just pistachios. But I will say, when I asked the doctors what's going on with pistachios, the recurring theme was that's a lot of fiber, and fiber to me could go either way. That could bind you up, or it could just turn you loose. And they told me it would turn me loose, and it turned me loose for a while. But something turned me loose.
Well, I mean, I
got loose. Things got loose.
Yeah, you greased the tunnel.
Yeah.
But then you also threw a whole bunch of other stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I don't think that helped your cause.
No, it wasn't
at all.
I didn't make healthy choices.
No. But still, overall, an excellent, a fun trip. We didn't talk about it the other day, but we played trivia.
Yes.
Got close there. 5th, but only 3 points off the win.
Yep.
And that was with only half the time we had John Fuller.
Yeah.
He had to leave early to help out Tim Brando. So
right.
And you know what? I'll throw that in too. Tim Brando, by the way, big fan of Tim Brando myself. You know who else is? It's Tim Brando. But he's a really nice guy. He's the only big name guy like that where we've had a game that's come down and talked to us and brought his spotting board down and like grabbed me as the color guy and was like, this team, what do you guys have to do? What are you worried about? And took it seriously.
That's cool.
I was impressed by that, and that's cool. And I've watched Tim Brando for my entire life.
Yeah, the whole time.
and it was cool to meet him and see him. And he's got a story for everything. He's known everybody. He's met everybody, and he was just a cool dude. And be able to talk. And I think it's cool to, we're not the big team in that matchup yesterday, but he still came down and talked to us as if we were, and paid attention to us and put the same amount of work in, which is
Rare.
is not the usual thing
Yeah.
with some of those games. So that was cool to be able to talk to a legend. He's the original College Game Day host, Tim Brando.
You know what was interesting to me was that I found out that Tim Brando was in our booth when I saw a picture of it on Twitter, because it all happened right behind me while I was wearing a headset. I knew you were talking to somebody. I didn't know who it was because I was busy. And I was thinking like, all right, guys, take it somewhere else. Come on, I'm trying to do a show here. And then 20 minutes later, I see a picture of you and Paul and Tim Brando in the booth, and I'm not in it, but I am because I'm right.
You in the background.
I didn't notice if I was in it, but right. I'm either, if you move the people out of the way, there's the back of my head. I don't know if you could see the back. I got to look it up. But that's how I found out that Tim Brando was there. Was he? Was Devin Gardner with him or no? Because Devin Gardner was the color guy. And it was funny because I walked past and I was like, I recognize the face. I can't think of who it is. I look it up, and then even seeing the name Devin Gardner, I'm like, for sure I know that. I can't think of who he is. And then I was like, wait a minute. Is that the quarterback that wore 98? And that absolutely is the quarterback that wore 98 at Michigan, 10 years ago or something like that. But he was, I saw him in the hallway too, but wasn't sure if he had been in our booth. All right, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to wrap things up too. I don't want to, I just got to stop talking for a little bit.
Just
go take a break.
It's funny. Paul and I had a full, almost 10-minute conversation with Tim Brando, literally on your back.
Yes.
And 20 minutes later, right before kickoff, I hear you say, hey, Scott, I looked up at you, and you said, was Tim Brando in here? I said, yeah, we talked to him about a half hour ago, right next to you.
Yeah.
And you're like, I had no idea.
None.
No idea.
No, whatsoever.
So that's
focus. That's focus is what that is.
Well, it's tough. For people at home, we got the windows open. You got a 300-piece brass marching band going.
It 20 tubas.
Yeah, there's 20 tubas, and you have the headphones on and are talking and listening and facing the other way. It's very understandable, yet also very funny that all that was happening and you didn't know. And another reason why we talked about it with the Iowa State-Kansas State game, another reason why I love college football is pre-game, the band is on the field and they start playing the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Meanwhile, there's a person dressed up as a giant gopher on a cart, scooting around the field, waving to fans.
Yeah. They lean into that, man. I love that they lean into our mascots kind of silly. Like if you're a Wolverine, you're tough, and if you're a tiger and you're a panther and you're whatever, they're just like, yeah, it's a gopher. We're gonna, the worst part of Caddyshack, we're gonna put that on our jumbotron, that stupid little Muppet dancing, and we're gonna embrace it. And they just the thing when we were trying to kick a field goal. And it's the first time you guys ever tried to kick a field goal at UB, and you're like, look at the scoreboard, and it's just I'm gonna say squirrel. It's a gopher, I'm sure, but like giving side eye to the kicker, just the whole screen is just a frozen picture of a squirrel looking at you. And I know it's a gopher, but you know what I'm saying. And it's just that they lean into it's a little goofy. We got a gopher. His name's Goldie. And that's what we're going to do here. It was a gold out. Everyone in the building was wearing bright yellow. It was cool. It was a very cool experience. And I look forward to the rest of the season even more because of some of the things that we learned. Seriously, let's just stop talking. We'll talk talk Monday. We'll talk Monday. I'm wrapping the show up early today. Thank you, Scott Wilson, for being a part of the show all day yesterday and as often as you are all the time. But there's no need to continue with this. I'm going to play a couple songs, but I'm done talking because I've got to set up a fantasy football draft for my kids at noon. So you get an abbreviated show today. But come on, man. I got home at 4:30 a.m., and we got this on the air for you. 2 guests, some music. Thanks for listening. Episode 156, Monday at 10 a.m., writerradio.com.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
Will you get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?